All right, everybody, welcome back to a very windy and chilly and sunny Florida day. So we just had another little cool front come through last night. It's barely going to get out of the 50s today for the high. It's supposed to get back in the mid to low 30s for the next 2 days. So awesome working weather without a doubt. I just got back from the lumber store and I couldn't help myself. I went back by the metal store and loaded up with a bunch of flat bar and angle iron and some solid bar for projects and something we're going to work on in this episode as well. Sadly, the metal dealer told me that due to COVID, the election, a few other things, this is the excuses he's getting, metal's about to go through the roof. So lumber just finally dropped and now metal's flying up. And I've got some huge metal projects coming up, like a big welding table, big welding storage rack. So I thought about going ahead and ordering all of it, but I got to cool it for a little bit, and I really don't have time for those projects right now. But the good news is, everybody's always asking me about lumber. Plywood is dropping, finally. I just went 2 weeks ago and bought these 3/4 inch ply sheets, non-pressure treated. I think they were like 38 bucks. Went today, $29. So dropping dramatically. Finally, wood is dropping around here. All right. So the plan today is we're going to cut the door to the storm shelter, and we're also going to build the outside door. So we're going to frame out the opening that we cut and build the door. So we're going to have a little bit of metal working on this episode. We're going to try out the new welder, hook that up. So quite a few different things going on. This thing actually drills through concrete pretty quick. All right, y'all, just got my welder set up. Got my flow set to what they're recommending. I'm gonna start out with the chart that's inside the door for this thickness of metal and see if that gets me close. This is my first time trying this MIG welder. Wish me luck. No. Let's play with those settings a little. Alright, well, most of the reviews I read said that the chart on the inside was very accurate. I did not find that to be the case. However, after a little bit of playing with it, you can dial it in pretty quick by ear. That's why I always recommend, no matter what kind of welder you use, piece of scrap first. Same thickness as what you're going to weld. Practice on some scrap until you dial your settings in. Same way with the stick. And yes, I know I'm welding on wood. Just a scrap piece. I'll be out in the shop all day long, so I'll keep an eye on this, but it's not on fire. Alright, I'm going to take some of these scrap pieces and mount on the inside door frame, just like this. Drill a hole in it, and I'm going to put a concrete anchor in there. So not only am I going to tie both these door frames together inside and out, I'm also going to concrete anchor them in. So when the outside door is against this door frame, if something were to hit it really heavy, there's no way it's going to shove the door frame inside, not to mention the door frame's already sandwiched around all the timbers. So trying to think of any way I can make this so stinking strong, since the door is realistically probably the weak point. Dang, I've been impressed with the cutting ability of this, but I hadn't really played with the grinding. That takes the metal off quick, sweet. I just remembered I forgot to show you all the welds before I get everything ground off. So the corners that I welded in, I actually beveled the edges before I welded to make sure I got good penetration, because I knew I was going to grind my welds flat, but that's what I'm working on now. So when I paint this, you won't even see where I seamed this together. And here's some of the welds, maybe a little cold or too much wire feed speed. This was some of my last welds, and I actually turned it down over here, and it looks like it sunk in a whole lot better. So For pretty much first time MIG welding in years, I am happy with the results. So easy, so easy. Woo, barely fits. That'd be embarrassing. Now I do suspect this to be pretty snug, and I brought a belt sander. Probably going to have to sand to get this in, because I tend to make things way too tight and right up to the edge. I don't know why I do that. Let's see. Yep. That ain't coming out. Woo! All right, y'all. Finally got these door frames in, and it took some what I call gentle persuasion with the old sledgehammer there. I had to trim a lot of the doorway out too. I do what I always do. I made things way too tight and snug. Should have known better. That old thick steel don't give. So it's in. I'm happy. Now we have a much, and I mean much stronger door frame than what the plans called for. And if you're watching this looking at building one of these, you don't have to have a welder and do all this. Look in the plans down in the description. They called for bent sheet metal to go around the doors. I think 14 gauge, something like that, which you would have to get a welding shop to bend and break for you, and then you come screw it in. I just want to do something a lot more heavy duty. Now you can look and see what I've got going on here. It's so dark. You can look right over here and see. So I've got these two pieces of 3/16 angle. I knew they weren't going to touch. It was just about impossible with the odd thickness of all the wood to find two pieces that would have butt together perfectly. So what I have bought is some 2-inch flat bar that I'm going to put over this and kind of tack weld. And I know, yes, it's a wood structure. I'll watch it and make for sure nothing smolders or catches on fire, but I'll actually be welding out here, and it'll be closing up this hole. So I'm not too terribly concerned. I probably could just lag bolt this together and it would be plenty good, but I do think I want to go ahead and tie both pieces together to make it a solid door frame here. So you got to keep in mind, you know, these studs are on inside of here. So if something were to ever come hit this structure, it would have to bust this whole frame apart, which will be welded together, and shift every timber to actually really compromise the structure. There just ain't no way. I'm starting to think you could drive a truck into this thing and we'd be okay. And we just don't get storm strong enough to do that. So I've run out of time. This took a little while longer than I was expecting. We're definitely not doing the door in this episode. So we'll catch it in the next episode. If you can see what I've done here, excuse the wood mess. So I showed you whenever I welded on those scrap pieces that I had here and here. And what I'm going to do is come in here and drill a hole right through those, which I should have did before I put them in, but boy, I wasn't thinking. That's all right. We'll catch it after the fact, and I'll run some 5/8 concrete anchors down into that. So once I weld and tie this whole door frame together and then lag bolt it down into the concrete, I mean, you can see how if something were to suck the door that way, which would be also latched into the steel, or something were to hit this way, it's not going nowhere. I mean, it's just absolutely not going nowhere. And don't forget, I've got Tapcon screws all down to the concrete all through this wall too. So this wall is definitely not shifting. Now the roof is supported by some very thick steel, The top header shifting this way or that way supported. I feel really, really, really good about this. So I'm starting to reach the point that this thing is so overbuilt, it's comical. But I got to try my new welder out. It did awesome. I've still got to do some fine tuning and dialing in, but it's day number 1 for me. I mean, I didn't expect to nail it right on the head. So I'll fine tune and play with it. By the time I got close to the end of welding all this, I was playing with it a little more and starting to get that kind of bacon frying sound. So I'm getting close to getting it dialed into the right settings, at least for this 3/16 steel. So next episode, we will be building the door, and I want to save that for its own episode because, like I said, this video is getting long, and this door is going to be pretty neat the way I'm going to build it. I'm going above and beyond plan yet again. I'm going to make this thing probably literally bulletproof. So kind of excited about that. There'll be a lot of woodworking and metalworking with that. I bought some really beefy hangers. I'm still kind of playing with how I'm going to hang it, even though I've already bought some stuff. So it can be a full episode by itself. So that'll be coming up next. Thank y'all so much for watching. We appreciate it. Don't forget, this coming up Sunday, December 13th at 5 p.m. We're going to attempt another live stream. I've got a brand new phone on the way with a much better camera, a different carrier. I think it's going to stream much better. So I'm trying to do everything I can to make that a much more pleasurable experience than the last live stream. Hopefully you enjoyed the little build series here. We got a lot more episodes coming. Thanks for watching.